Hey friends, today's video is sponsored by Adobe Express, and today I want to talk about photography and helping you photographers out there that want to share your work across social media. And I don't know if you know this, but Adobe Express, who as I say are sponsoring today's video, is a great way to kind of bring your photography into a platform and then do some tweaks, and then you can then schedule this out to your chosen social media platforms. Let's dive in and take a look. Now, first off, let's have a look at how you can actually import your Photoshop files. Now, there's two ways of doing this. You can come over and you can import from other apps here, and you can see here you can obviously import from Adobe Acrobat, Illustrator, InDesign, but also Adobe Photoshop. Now, if we click on this, we can see here I've got a Photoshop file here, and we're going to use this one where I change the color of the car, and you will need to make sure this is below 500 megabytes. That's kind of like the limit for importing this into Adobe Express. But we click open, and then we're now presented with two different options. There's one where it will stay linked to the actual original Photoshop file. So if you do any edits inside of Photoshop, it'll then prompt you to say the Photoshop file has updated, and you can then refresh it inside of Adobe Express. Or you can convert this to an Adobe Express file where it'll import all of the layers. So if you've got lots of tiny bits in your Photoshop file, remember, if this way it'll import each of those as different layers. Now you can see this, and I've already imported one. This is one where I chose to actually link the file, and you can see at the bottom here it says your linked assets have changed, and it just asks you to update. You can also see up here it's got that kind of like little refresh kind of like icon, and if you wanted to, also over in the corner here it says a new version is available. Now when you are working in this, if you wanted to, you don't always have to have Photoshop open in the background. If you come into this at a later stage, you'll be prompted. You can see there you can actually open this in Photoshop, open it on Photoshop in the web, or you can see your file on the Creative Cloud. So on this particular occasion, I'm just going to click on update, and you can see there I've not actually updated anything as such, but it actually prompted me to update that. The other option where you bring it in and convert it to from Photoshop files into Adobe Express, and that's going to then bring in all of your different layers. So you can see on this particular occasion, this is my original file, and you can see where I've got these masked off kind of areas where I've then changed the color of the car. You can see I've got those options in here, and as I shift these up, you can see there where I can, you can apply different filters or different masks or color, things that I've added inside of Photoshop. It's brought all of those different layers in here. So all you'll need to do is to make sure that those layers are in the correct order. So if I wanted this one, this is where I change the color of the car, and I've got a video coming up showing you exactly how I've done that in Photoshop. That's coming out in a couple of days' time. So if that's something you want to see, make sure you click like and subscribe down below, and you'll be prompted when I release that video in a couple of days. If I've already released it, I'll link it down in the description below for you and up here. Now, as a photographer, you might be out taking photographs on your phone using Lightroom Mobile or Lightroom inside of your kind of like ecosystem to edit your images. And you can import your images easily into Adobe Express because there is a link to do that as well. Here we can see I've got this picture of a sheep from where I was at a local county event recently. And if you come over to your stuff, you can see here, if you scroll over, you can actually access your Lightroom photos. Now, I think it gives you the latest kind of like 30 images, but you can also then at the bottom browse all photos, and that's going to then bring up all of your photos. We can see here that I've actually got an album from Photoshop Express as well, but also I've got all of my images here. And if I click view all, you can see you've got all of these images that I've edited throughout the years using Lightroom. So once your item's in here, what can we do with this? Well, there's a lot we can actually do with this if you wanted to. You can come over to Effects, and you've also got built into Adobe Express, you've got these Photoshop filters. So you can actually, choose to any of these classic Photoshop filters. You've got brighten, soft contrast, you've got evergreen, dreamy, you've got black and white images options. You've got all these kind of like mood options, disposable camera for that kind of like cool kind of like retro feel depending on your image and the look you're wanting to go with for your image. If you want to remove them, you can also then just click on none, and that's actually then removed. As well as just bringing in this, you can then, so let's say you've got one that's kind of like a different size. Let's say you want to go for more of a landscape, and if you've already noticed, I do have an image in here that I've brought in. You can see, well, actually I don't want to kind of like just stretch that over to, over the image and make that, I want it to kind of like be a different size. I want it to kind of like show the full size, but maybe I want to also show this as an Instagram carousel. We can do that. We can do that really easily. All we do is we create a page, and you can see down here, you can create a page. This one is in particular, you can either create a page or you can click resize. This one here is 2 pages or 2 images wide. And then I've also created one that is 3 images wide, which is 3240 by 1350. And it's like, great, we've got that. We can come over, we can edit the image, we can add any effects that we want to add on here. If we wanted to, you can also create some video inside of Express or Adobe Express using your images. But on this particular occasion, let's say we've got this panoramic image and we want to share this. Now, the easiest way, and one of the benefits of using Adobe Express as a photographer to create those carousel effects, is that you can actually come in here. If you come over to add-ons and then use the image splitter, okay, now this one in particular is 3 pages wide, so we don't want to export our design, and then it's going to ask us how many rows we want it. It's just going to be 1 row, and then we want it to be over 3 columns, which is 3 pages. And then you choose split the image, and you can see here we've got our 3 images. Now I've prepared the 3 pages already, and these pages are 1080 by 1350. So we're just going to click on add to design for page 1, click on add to design for page 2, and click on add to design for page 3. I hope you're with me, and if these tips are really helpful and you want to learn more about Adobe Express, do consider subscribing down below, because I want to show you a lot more that you can do inside of Adobe Express. And now I want to show you how you can actually schedule this out to your Instagram account easily inside of Adobe Express. In order to now schedule or share the images that you've created, or the post that you've created inside of Adobe Express, you're going to come over to share. And honestly, the Adobe Express scheduler is one of the best that I've seen. I use it all the time. You're going to come over to schedule your post. Now you will need to create the social media channels that you want to connect. You can see here I've got my Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn and TikTok. Just for this demo, I'm going to click on Instagram, and we can then see from here you can either create this as a post, as a reel, or as a story. And it'll prompt you, if you choose the wrong size or the image is the wrong size, it'll actually prompt you to resize that. Now, one of the things that I love about the scheduler inside of Adobe Express here is that it'll actually look at your images, and you can actually generate a new caption from those images. And then, you could write a couple of lines and kind of like get it from there, but it's got it here from here. Sunshine vibes, retro feels. This spot gives us the nostalgia, perfect for lazy afternoons, soaking up the sun. I really like the prompt here. You can either choose to go with that, or you could choose to try again. We're going to click on insert, okay? And on here, you can also then choose to add a first comment. So if you wanted to ask a question in your first comments, you could put that in here. Have you ever been here? So once you've added that, you've got your captions, you've got your first comment. You can either choose to schedule, or you can publish now, or you can even save as a draft. For this demo, I'm going to click on save as a draft. And you can see over here, it's like, well, it's only added in the last image. What about the other images? Okay, we're going to come over to here. We're going to come over to our files. And what we actually want to do is actually add in the two other images. Okay, we're going to click in upload on those. Now, you can see whilst it's uploading those, you can see they're not in the correct order. This image, you just drag it and drop it, so you can rearrange the order of these if you wanted to or if you needed to. And you can also click on preview down here, and this is going to give you that preview to show you what it's going to look like inside of Instagram. Okay, so you can then click through. You've got your caption in there, you've got all of your hashtags, you've got exactly what it looks like here inside of Adobe Express before you've published. Okay, so now we can click, we've previewed it, we've got everything that we want, we've got everything in the right order. Click that and add that as a draft. So you saved that as a draft, and in order to find that, you're going to come over to the schedule on the Adobe Express homepage. You're going to come over and you'll see this is where we've saved this. Now you can come in here, you can tweak anything that you wanted to. You might not have been ready to post it at the time, but you can come in here, tweak any of those, update your first comment, and then actually choose to schedule this out at the time and the date that you want to. Click on this. Let's say I want to send this over on Friday at 10 a.m, 10:41 a.m. Okay, click Save Changes. Close that. Okay, and you can see now that that is scheduled, ready to go on Friday. Now I don't want to do that, so I'm going to just drag that over to here and put that in my ideas posts. Okay, so that's now over here in my ideas posts. And this part here, if you don't see this, you can click on the little burger menu at the top, and that's where this pops out. This is kind of like where you can capture ideas. You can just click on up here and you can click on your post ideas and add those two drafts and save those up. And then when you're ready to post them, you can either click in them or you can drag on to the day that you want to actually choose to post those. Now I am going to go through the scheduler in more detail in a future video. So if that's something you want to check out, make sure you click like and subscribe down below. And until next time, thank you very much and bye for now.